Hey, welcome to Gun Stuff. Today we get a chance to bring you the SAR B6, and as usual we've got the chance to go through a lot of the SAR lineup. This is their double action, single action polymer frame pistol, hammer fired. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by doing a little accuracy testing with it. We're going to shoot a couple different grain weights, a couple different types of bullets, just to see what operates best in this gun, and then we'll just have a little fun with it. So we're going to start off with 115 grain Federal ball ammunition. All right, moving along, we're going to go to 124 grain Federal ball. All right, so now we're going to go back, we're going to load up some different types of ammo, then we're going to get back out and do some more testing. All right, moving along, we're going to go to 115 grain Fiocchi ball. All right, Federal 124 grain Hydroshocks. All right, so all our targets we're shooting at 7 yards, and our targets downrange are just typical 3x5 cards, putting the front sight right into the center of the 3x5 card. I'm going to go ahead and go back and load up another mag and then come down and shoot the last grain. All right, our last ammunition type is Winchester 124 grain Lawman hollow point. All right, let's go down range, take a look at our targets. Down at, so we're shooting at 7 yards. These are 3x5 cards. I'm gonna go ahead and measure these and see where our groups are at. Right at, I'm going from center to center on groups. That's about 1 3/4 inches, 2 1/4 inches, 1 1/2 inches, 2 1/4 inches, and right around 3/4 inches. All right, so as what's been showing with our SAR guns, they're really partial to Fiocchi 115 grain for a practice round, just for training or anything you want to do, any plinking or anything like that. So this is going to be your low-cost alternative for you to shoot for your volume of shooting. And then our defensive rounds are turning out to be the Federal Hydroshocks. So this put out a 1-inch group, but I was aiming here. So one of the things, like you can see how the different ammos perform. Each time my front sight was right here in the center of the card. So on this one, on say the Federal 115, you know, I was just a little bit off to the left. And I am going to claim this as some kind of shooter error. Usually you'll see this on a double action, single action gun, where the first trigger pull is really heavy and it drops or something like that, which you see a lot of on the range if you do a lot of target analysis with other students and stuff shooting. A double action, single action guns, a lot of times on your first shot will be different than the remainder of the group, and that's because the first trigger pull is heavier, and then your successive trigger pulls after that are a lighter weight. But I was starting off with this gun without even thinking about it, you know, without subconsciously without even thinking about it, racking it and then starting from the loaded position. Well, this doesn't have a decocker, but so there's really no way for you to start off in the double action unless you pull the trigger and then ride the hammer home, which then becomes, you know, a safety issue if you want to carry it without the hammer being cocked. But because of the safety and the way it is in here, you know, this is meant to be locked and loaded and ready to be carried with the hammer in the cocked position. So it's still 100% safe to carry it this way, but there really is no way to decock it once you have a round in the chamber. And I don't prefer to carry a firearm without a round in the chamber. Some people, different countries and stuff, train for people to carry with an empty chamber, and then as part of their draw stroke they load and make ready. But those aren't really, one of the things we're finding is those aren't a great practice for a self-defense. Target range stuff, you can do that kind of stuff if you want on the range, and you can get away with it. But a defensive situation, we really don't care for it too much. So one of the weird thing is that on all of them I had, you know, the higher round, you know, except for these two right here. So first round here, came back down, I kept going bouncing back and forth. So I'm claiming these as just breathing control and improper, you know, just shooter error. But these here, each one of these felt solid. These groups, they posted really nice tight groups, but my first shots were high on both of these, and then the remaining 4 rounds are all in one hole. The only one that successfully kept them all in a small tight group would be your Federal 124 grain, which is great because that's your defensive load. That's the one you're going to want to be most accurate anyways. So the guns, the SAR guns, are really partial to the Fiocchi 115s and the Federal 124 grain. So now we're going to go ahead and load up, and we're just going to start shooting some steel and have some fun with this. All right, so here we are. We're out of our shooting steel, and we got the SAR B6, and so we're gonna go ahead and run through this thing a little bit, just get a feel for it, see how it shoots, see how it handles. So like we were talking about before, this is SAR's entry-level pistol, and this is a polymer framed, has a stainless, forged stainless slide, has a pretty nice beaver tail on the back, some generous stippling on here for to keep you from slipping in your hand. All the controls are on the right hand side, and the controls, just like all the SAR controls, are big oversized controls in case you need to use gloves or anything like that. Big nice magazine release, 3-dot combat sights. So again, on this model here, being the entry level, this is meant for more rough duty use. So your sights are, you don't have any adjustment on the front sight. You have a little bit of drift for windage on the back sight. So I'm gonna go ahead and run through a couple magazines here and just see how it shoots. Okay, so it's a little stiff, being a new gun. I went to hit the mag release, it didn't really drop right away. And of course, that's why we come out and we always shoot, and we're always training with our guns to get a feel for them. So I had to immediately go over the top because I wasn't able to drop it. And I know there's been discussions on our boards about hitting the mag release, hitting the slide release instead of coming over the top to do the over the hand charging. So these are some of the things that we'd like to do on the range just to keep your skills up. All right, a couple more 50s. All right, out of rounds. All right, so what we're gonna do, this thing is shooting really good. I like the trigger. Again, this is double action, single action. So your first round is gonna be, is usually going to be in single action. Even though this is a double action, single action, there really is no way for you to put this into a double action mode other than, so this gun is empty right now, so to pull the trigger and ride the hammer down, then that puts you in the double action mode to where you can pull it up. Again, I'm not a big fan of riding that hammer home and doing that, but that's the way it could be. So overall, we'll go ahead and move back under the tree because it's starting to rain on us right now, but then we'll give you a little specs on this. So SAR B6, some of the specs on this is the overall length on this gun is 8 inches. The overall height is 5.5 inches. Overall width on this gun is just a little over 1 inch, 1.1 inches. And the overall weight due to the polymer grip is bringing it in at about 28 ounces. So this is very similar to the SAR 2000. There's a couple minor differences on this, but essentially what this is very similar to the SAR 2000. So if you get the SAR 2000 in steel or stainless or something like that, it's going to give you a big, heavy gun. Has a little bit better trigger in it, but this is going to be your entry-level gun for a carry, so it's lighter. So if you want to use your SAR 2000 for a competition gun and then run this for an everyday carry or something like that, because it's going to be a little bit lighter and a little bit easier to get around. So we're going to go ahead and load this magazine up, and we're going to go ahead and jump back and shoot a couple rounds at 100 yards, just as we always do, to see how it performs at 100. All right, and as usual, here we are. We're at the 100-yard line. We're going to go ahead and take a couple shots at 100 yards and see how it does. All right, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So not really quite sure we're hitting down there, but we always like to do that just to show that these things can be used at further distances. They don't just have to be at 5 yards. And this thing is 2 out of 3 at 100 yards on a full piece of steel. So we know we like it here, and we hope you do too, and we'll see you next time at Gun Stuff.